Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I thought I would finally sit down and do a kind of chatty get ready with me and tell the story of the time that myself and quite a few other YouTubers that I'm good friends with were invited on a fake brand trip. This was a couple of years ago now, and I've never actually fully told the story on my channel, and I thought it might be quite an interesting one because I've got all of the receipts, I've got screenshots, I've got emails, I've got like conversations between me and other people, and I also thought while I was talking I may as well do my makeup, so I'm also going to do that too. I've got quite a few different products that I haven't used in a while, and I thought I'd kind of revive them and see what I think of them again. But if you guys do enjoy this kind of like chatty get ready with me style video, then give this a big thumbs up, and if you aren't already subscribed, would love it if you joined, but you don't have to because it might be boring, I don't know. I also just want to say, I think I have mentioned in a previous vlog or on Twitter or previous video or something, I have mentioned the brand before, but in this video I'm not going to mention them. Well, it had nothing to do with them, like they weren't the ones that were behind this, so like it was not the fault of the brand at all. But just in case, I don't know, they're not happy with getting involved with this kind of story, I'm not going to mention the brand. I'm just going to call them Brand, where I would say their name. But I will say that it's a big American makeup brand. So I'm just going to go through and do my makeup, and if I miss off any products, I will link them all in the description box. I'm starting with the e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer. So basically, to start this story, it happened at the very beginning of 2017, so like 2 years ago now. I don't even think I had 100,000 subscribers. If I did, then I'd only just hit it. So I was just on the train one day with my parents, we were going somewhere, and I got this email, and it was a really exciting email inviting me on a trip to New York. I still have all of the screenshots, so every time that I say the brand, I'm just gonna say Brand instead of their actual name. So it's from this random lady called Emily C. I'd never heard of her before, and it said Brand Launch Event 2017, and then taking my Revlon Colour Stay. And this email read, "Hi Sophie, Emily here from Brand in the New York headquarters. With the launch of the new collection that they were having around the corner, we're inviting YouTubers and press to the exciting event. The event is held at the Westin Hotel in New York, where we are welcoming you to come and stay for 3 nights. So I obviously read this and was like, what? I've been invited on a trip to New York? When I first read this, I was kind of like, that doesn't seem right. Like, I don't feel like I'm big enough of a YouTuber to be invited on an event this big, a trip to New York for 3 nights. And it said, the events consist of the press launch event on Friday the 3rd of March, dinner and launch party on Saturday 4th of March, and the new store opening in Times Square on the 5th of March. Please get in contact with us via this email if you are interested in the events. All flights and hotel will be fully paid for on your behalf." So I was like a bit shook, to be honest. And I remember saying to my parents like, oh my God, I've been invited on a trip fully paid for to New York with a really big makeup brand. And so obviously I was fully buzzing. I was so excited because I hadn't been on like a trip abroad before with a brand, and it was just like the coolest opportunity to go to New York. And it then said, "Thank you for your time, Emily C, PA of like the lead CEO of this brand." And I googled this, you know, the name of the CEO who she said she was the PA of, and I was like, okay, that name that she's given is the CEO of the company, so I thought it seemed kind of legit. So I clicked on the actual email to see what the address was, because I just wanted to double check, because I had actually been to an event with this brand in the UK before, and I had previously spoken to one of the PR girls from the company, so I just wanted to check like what the email address was. And I noticed that the email address, rather than like with a lot of big companies, they will have the person's name and then say, for example, it's Revolution. The company wasn't Revolution, but it would be insert the name, so like Emily C at revolutionbeauty.com, or you know, at morphe.com, or a lot of the time brands have their own kind of email address handle, but this one was the name of the brand, then business at gmail.com. And I was kind of thinking, well, anyone can set up a Gmail account, and a lot of the time, you know, when you get like scam emails from PayPal, it would be like PayPal something at gmail.com. So I was like, that's a bit strange. It didn't match up with the previous emails that I'd had from this brand, which was at thebrandname.com. So I was kind of like, that's the first warning sign that kind of makes me think this might not be real. But then because it was such a big opportunity, I was like, hell yeah, I'm replying. So I replied immediately being like, "Hi Emily, thanks for getting in touch. This sounds amazing. Thank you so much for inviting me. Would love to come and would love to hear some more details. Best wishes, Sophie." And then just going in with the Colourpop No Filter Concealer, which I haven't used in freaking ages, in the shade Fair 5. By the way, I just want to point out that at the time I didn't have management. I was doing everything all by myself. So like managing my own emails, replying to all my own emails and everything like that. I didn't have anyone to help me. So this Emily woman, who doesn't even probably exist, she's probably not even called Emily. I don't know, like the scary thing is I don't know who this person actually was. I don't know what their motive was. Really weird. She replied being like, your response is much appreciated and I'm glad you're excited for the event. Obviously, due to the nature of the event, we're looking for publicity from talent and press that are attending. It won't be anything major, but we are looking for a few mentions of brand on your social media platforms. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, freaking hell, yeah, like a trip to New York in exchange for some mentions on social media. Like, yeah, I'll do it. And then taking the Rimmel Insta Fix and Matte powder. So she then says, from here also, we would be delighted for you to tell your following about the event, but obviously for now, the location should be kept quiet to avoid uninvited guests from arriving, which, I mean, that makes sense, but now looking back on this and realizing that it wasn't even real freaks me out so much. Like, what was this person or people, what exactly were they trying to do by getting a bunch of young female YouTubers, flying them out to New York and not mentioning the location that we were supposed to be meeting? Like, what the heck? But then weirdly it said, this being said, feel free to mention the event on social media as we will be gathering a PR together in the next few weeks. In the next couple of weeks, more information about flights and bookings for the hotel will be needed. Unfortunately, the size of the event means we cannot take +1s to the party's launch or store opening. However, double hotel rooms and 1 extra flight ticket will be booked on request for any attendees from the UK and Europe. Which, like, again, is weird because they said that we can't have +1s, but then they said if you're from UK and Europe, they can book an extra flight and a double hotel room. So, like, why did they go to the effort to say that if it wasn't even real? Like, I just don't understand. Just to recap, the flight date will be Thursday, the 2nd of March, and the flight home will be Sunday, the 5th of March. Please don't be worried to get in contact if you have any more questions about the trip. As stated above, more info will follow in the next few weeks to talent that are sure they can make dates. Please also be aware no places are secure until 20th of January. Unfortunately, the focus of the event is to publicise the new products, so sadly, the higher the following of the talent, the more likely they are to get a place. So they sent this email out to loads of different people and then said, the more following we have, that's how we'll get a place. Like, why did they bother to email it to loads of different people if they were then going to pick who would come? Like, it makes no sense. To contour, I'm using this Revolution Renaissance Glow palette and I'm taking this shade right here. Okay, so the plot thickens. I had spotted this whole kind of like brand@gmail.com type of business going on. I'd seen a couple of YouTubers tweet that I'm kind of like, that I knew they were also other British YouTubers, and they tweeted being like, can't wait for New York with brand, you know, their Twitter handle. And so I thought, okay, it must be legit, like it's not just me that's got this email. And I was actually talking to Molly, whose channel is Beauty Spectrum, and I did message her before this video just to check that she was okay for me to kind of bring her into this as well and like talk about it. I'm not going to mention all the other YouTubers just because I don't really want to drag them and maybe their managements into this. But let's just say there were YouTubers that were invited, and they were added into like a group chat that Molly was also invited into because she was kind of friends with them. There were lots of YouTubers that I know and like, you know, bigger UK YouTubers. And so I was messaging Molly and I said to her, was your email from brandbusiness@gmail.com? And she said, yeah, it was. I'm so unsure if it's legit because I don't know why they'd invite me. That's literally what I was thinking and what made me suspicious. And then she said, but they did reply really quickly with details. And then I said to her, I'm so confused because when I've spoken with brand before, it's been like a name and then @brand.com. So I DM'd them on Instagram and they said this. So I messaged the brand and said, hello, is blank blank @gmail.com a legitimate email from you? And they said, hi, thank you for letting us know. We only have 2 emails and they are social@brand.com and info@brand.com. So at this point, I was like, okay, the email that we've got is not a legitimate email from the brand. So like, what exactly is going on here? I'm just quickly taking my Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. And I then kind of had a thought, oh God, oh dear, oh dear. Ooh, I just inhaled some of that and it actually tastes really nice. So I then had a thought, because I was like, hang on, I've been to an event with this brand before and I still have the email address of one of the PR girls. So I thought it might be a smart idea to email her and just like check, because surely if she was working for the brand, she would know about this trip to New York that's like a pretty big deal. So I replied back to the brand's DM on Twitter and I said, oh, how strange, I've been invited to a New York trip from that email address. And then they said, can you please share a screenshot of the email and address so we can follow up with the team? So I sent it all over to her and then they said, thank you so much for letting us know, we've escalated this issue with our team. This random Emily lady who was claiming to be from this brand, she said that they would need more information from us about flights and bookings, so she was probably then going to ask for like our passport information and like, I don't know, pickup addresses and like our names and, you know, more information about us and stuff, which again is like really weird. So I emailed the PR girl from the legitimate brand. I'm taking the L'Oreal Life's a Peach blush. I sent her an email saying, I received an email from blank blank at gmail.com inviting me to a trip to New York, but as it didn't end with at yourbrand.com, I was wondering if it was a legit email. I've seen other YouTubers mention it on Twitter, but just thought I should check before I RSVP. Then she got back to me and said, hey Sophie, thanks so much for your email. Would you mind forwarding me the email you received? Sounds like a fake to me. Hope you're doing well and Happy New Year. So at this point, I was like, what the f? Excuse me? I'm then taking the L'Oreal La Vie on Glow palette and I'm going to take this shade here. So I then got back to Molly, Beauty Spectrum, and I said to her, I'm so confused because when I've spoken with the brand before, it's been a name like this. So I DM'd them on Insta and they said this, and then I sent her the screenshot of the legitimate brand replying to me on Twitter saying that that's not one of their email addresses. And she said, oh, that's so shady. And I said, I'm so confused, in full caps, because I was so confused. I was so excited to have been invited on this trip with like a really big brand and to New York. And then when I started finding out that it was like possibly fake, I was like, what the hell? But then none of the other girls that were invited that Molly was talking to seemed to think it was fake. I'd seen people like still tweeting about it. So I was thinking like maybe they know something that I don't. And I don't know, their management have like spoken to the actual people from the brand. Like, I did not know at this point. But then Molly said to me they emailed the girls on like a different management as well, and they responded on their behalf accepting their invite, and I doubt they would do that if it wasn't legit. So I was kind of thinking, yeah, like she's got a point, you know, like if some of the other girls that have invited, if their management has been like arranging it, then it probably is legit. And I said to her, I mean, I really do hope it's real, and like why would someone make it up? And then she said, what is going on? I really want it to be real. And then basically Molly shared with me the email that she got back from Emily C, the girl that was the PA of this big makeup company CEO. And then I just said to Molly like, yeah, I got the same email reply from them of them being like, oh, we'll need more details in the next few weeks, blah blah blah. And I said, I mean, it does sound like it's legit because, you know, this other girl's management thought it was. And then I said, I mean, it all sounds legit. And she said, yeah, it does. I guess it's just a waiting game. And then she said, one of the other girls said that they're emailing with confirmation of a guest list on the 20th of Jan. So maybe we just have to wait till then. All a bit strange. And I said, all right, okay, just have to wait and see. How amazing if it all goes through though. There was me like getting my hopes up, like I'm going to New York. And then she said, I really want it to happen. It will be incredible. And then I said, I know, right, waiting until January the 20th is going to be so painful. And then she said, just gotta pray. And this was the point when I got the email response, sounds like a fake to me, Happy New Year. And so I sent this screenshot to her and said, the plot thickens. This was from a legit PR girl, and she said, oh, OMG, keep me in the loop, shit. And I was like, what the f is happening? And I said, I have no idea. So weird how no one from seems to know about it, but why the hell would someone make up a fake event? But obviously now, kind of like looking back on it, it is weird that somebody would go to all of this effort to make a kind of fake makeup event. And honestly, like, this sounds awful, but the only kind of explanation and reasoning I can think of to why somebody would do this is like, I don't know, like you hear a lot about sex trafficking and kind of, you know, that sort of thing, especially with young women. And the fact that, like, just why would somebody try and get a bunch of young girls, like I'm pretty sure at the time all of us were kind of like 18 and under, why would they try and get information off of young girls, try and get them on a flight to New York, tell them that, you can't tell anyone where the location is. Like, the whole thing just seems really suspicious. But then I was kind of thinking, yeah, but then why would they tell us to talk about it online? I don't know, maybe to make it seem less suspicious and to make us actually think it was a brand trip so that nobody really questioned it. I don't even know, but the thing, oh, Jesus Christ, it scares me so much. But anyway, so she said literally no idea, the plot thickens even further. So I'm not going to mention these 2 names because I don't want to drop people in it, but she said that one of the other girls that she was friends with has been on the phone to someone else who she's also friends with and is a YouTuber, who's been talking to their management, and they've said that have confirmed her place, but everyone else has to wait until the 20th, which sounds shady. But their management have been in touch with what they thought was the PR team, but none of them had realised that the email was from @Gmail and not like the actual brand. And then taking the Nip and Fab eyeshadow palette in the shade Sculpted. So I was kind of thinking like, wow, okay, if you know, one of these girls that we know, their place has been confirmed, she's been talking to her management about it, and you know, the management didn't think it was anything shady. They were talking to this Emily girl thinking it was one of the PR people. It all seemed kind of like it was fine, so I was kind of like, okay, maybe their management kind of like know what's going on and they have some kind of inside information. Like, I don't know, because I was just by myself at this point and doing my own emails, I was kind of like, you know, I'll just trust what everyone else says, because sure, that's a great idea. Even though I had an email from the legitimate PR lady being like, this sounds like a fake, I was still holding out hope that it was going to be real because I really wanted to go to New York. I was young, I was stupid, but at least I kind of noticed the warning signs about it being from gmail.com, because nobody else seemed to notice that factor and no one else seemed to be bothered by it. And I just don't even know what would have happened if this had gone any further and we'd actually, like, oh my god, what if we'd have turned up? I have no idea, like, who would make a fake brand trip to a different country? Like, it just, I don't understand. Like, the whole thing is so freaky. I'm just doing the most basic kind of like brown matte smoky eye. So far, I've just used this shade and this shade. Just going in with a slightly darker matte shade. I then got a message from Molly, and she was talking in a group chat with a load of the other girls that had been invited because they were all like really excited about it. And then she had mentioned to the other like girls in her group chat saying that I'd spoken to one of the actual legitimate PR girls who reckoned it was fake. And then she sent me a screenshot saying, Han just confirmed it's fake. She spoke to brand, like the real brand, tonight. And they were like, oh my god, genuinely shocked right now. Then they were like, but as if the management thinks it's real, that's what's confusing me. And then they were like, yeah, if it was from an @Gmail, surely they would know it was fake. And then she just sent me this screenshot of her conversation and said, seems we've all been scammed. And I was just like, OMG, so I was right. Why would somebody do this? It's all so weird. So yeah, I basically then got back to the real girl from the brand and I said, how strange, here is the original email that I received, and I forwarded her on like all of the information that I had, and I just said, hope you were doing well. And then that was basically the last that I heard of it. But yeah, like, what the actual hell? What do you guys kind of make of this? Because like, looking back on it now, it really seems so suspicious. The fact that somebody went to the effort to set up a fake email address for a really popular makeup brand. They kind of, you know, sent this email out to loads of British, well, I don't know, they could have sent it to loads of American people. Surely somebody would have believed it, because I mean, at the start I did believe it because I thought, why would somebody make that up? But thank God, I kind of like, I think with a lot of things online, I'm really wary of them because I don't want to get scammed into things, and you know, with the whole kind of like, there's often scam PayPal emails and stuff, and so I'm always kind of like looking out for that, and I'm very wary of things like that online and kind of like internet safety and stuff. But like, thank God we looked into it, because like, honestly, I know this sounds so dark, but like, who knows like what could have happened to us. Like, literally anything could have happened to us if we'd have all accepted this trip and we'd have given them our details, like our passport details, like where to pick us up from to take us to the airport, and if we'd have gone to New York and met whoever this was behind the emails. Like, oh, I just don't understand. Like, why would somebody do that? Like, it just is so freaky. And like, you've just got to be so careful, because that could have been a really horrendous situation. So I think, like, you just got to be super, super wary of that stuff. If you are somebody that puts yourself out there online, if you have a YouTube channel, if you have an Instagram, if you're a model, like anything of that sort, even if you're just like, you know, you don't even do that kind of thing, if you get an email inviting you on something that seems kind of like it's too good to be true, just make sure you look into it. If you are going somewhere and you're not 100% sure about it, never go by yourself. Like, make sure that people know exactly where you're going. Take someone with you. There is no harm just dropping the verified account on Instagram for whatever brand it is. Drop them a DM on Instagram or Twitter and just ask them, because then at least you've got some like confirmation and clarity, and it will make you feel a lot better. Then for my lipstick, I'm using the Huda Beauty Liquid Matte in Venus. What do you guys make of this whole situation? Let me know. I'm just going in with a tiny bit of the Soap & Glory Sexy Mother Pucker lipstick in Fifth Avenue, which is one of the matte ones, just to lighten it up a bit. If you guys have any questions for me, please leave them down below with the hashtag question of the day, and I always give somebody a shout out at the end of my videos, which is what I'm gonna do right now. This is an interesting one. This question comes from somebody called Mozzarella Angelova, and she said, why did you start your YouTube channel? And you said you're not a girly girl and enjoy gaming, so how come you haven't done any gaming videos and instead chose the makeup route? Love you and your videos. So basically, I mentioned a couple of videos back that I'm not a girly girl. By that, I mean, obviously, yes, I am a girly girl, quote unquote, because, you know, anyone can enjoy different things that are considered girly, but I do, you know, I paint my nails, I like doing my makeup, and I do kind of like some girly things. And people mentioned that I was wearing like glittery Disney ears and stuff like that. Yeah, so there are aspects of me that are girly, but what I meant by not being a girly girl is that I don't really like pink at all. For example, I'm probably like the complete opposite of Sophie Louise. If you've seen her kind of like decor and her background and stuff like that and her house tour, she's got a lot of pink in her house, whereas I'm not so much into like pastel colours and kind of like floral stuff and like, I don't know, butterflies, and I don't really know how I'm coming across here, but things that are typically considered super girly like that, I'm not a fan of. So like, you wouldn't catch me wearing the pink glittery Disney ears, for example, but I like the black and red ones because I like black and red, if that makes any sort of sense. But yeah, I still do really enjoy makeup, and yes, I am into gaming. I used to be really into gaming and play Xbox and stuff. I don't have the most up-to-date Xbox. I've only got a 360 and I never upgraded to the Xbox One. I do have a Nintendo Switch, but like, I think for gaming videos you kind of need to be a PC gamer so that you can like record it and stuff. I don't know. I think I probably wouldn't be that interesting if I did gaming videos, to be honest, because I'm not like the best gamer. I just really enjoy it. Okay, so I'm gonna go now. I really hope you guys enjoyed this kind of like chatty story time-ish get ready with me. Like I said, all of the products will be linked down below in the description box. And yeah, if you aren't already subscribed, I would love it so much if you joined, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!